Welcome to my ETEC 590 ePortfolio. This portfolio was created in conclusion of my Master's in Educational Technology program at the University of British Columbia, and it fulfills several requirements. As my welcome page shows here, I have various purposes for this ePortfolio, some of which are to fulfill TQS requirements, capstone experience requirements for MET, personal requirements, personal goals that I've set for myself, specifically linking theory to practice and hopefully helping me find gaps in my learning. And in reflection on this ePortfolio, it certainly has helped me fill in several gaps in my learning that I've developed through the MET program, where taking different courses and taking them not concurrently doesn't allow linkages as this EP has. So my EP, purpose of it, of course, then is to fulfill these requirements. The organization of the EP is structured around my metaphor, and that's already pictured somewhat in this banner at the top of my page. A Web of Learning and Practice is the title for my ePortfolio, but it's shown more in my metaphor. So from the menu bar here that provides access to all of the different pages in my ePortfolio, I'm going to go down to Portfolio Metaphor, and the metaphor is a spider's web. And the spider's web is an excellent metaphor of the learning that I've been able to experience in the Masters of Educational Technology program, because all of the different courses that I've taken have tied together. They're all interlinked. They all provide different views and perspectives on really the same thing, which comes down to integrating technology into teaching in a constructivist manner, using constructivism as the focus of learning in the program. Both the courses as they were presented by UBC, but also the projects and opportunities in those courses were all built on a constructivist perspective that shows this web of learning. In this web of learning, I've got several anchors around the outside that show what my learning comes from. All the different places that I owe for my learning, that connect my learning, that I've been able to build my learning in. So the strands in this web represent all the different pieces that I've been able to connect together as a learning experience for myself. And these bottom titles here show really the focus of my learning, how theory is at the basis and comes out of several of these anchors, and how theory can be connected to practice, and how practice is built on theory. But practice is closest to myself, where practice becomes what I want to do in my classroom, what I feel I can do, and what I feel is necessary for my students in the classroom. So this organization is also reflected in my menu bar up here. So I first begin by looking at educational theory. Over here is a link to this video tour that you will be able to find. Here's a link to educational theory. So the way I've organized things is that I have provided a major reflection on educational theory and several of the different things I've been able to learn. So I focused on where I've been, some of my past history about how I did things before MET and even before that, where I am now that I've learned from MET, what do I think now, and then some goals for myself. Where am I going? What do I hope to do from that? And some examples of that. So that's an overall reflection. Then after the overall reflections come specific artifacts like these concept maps. Again, showing the web-like nature of the learning in the MET program, with the learning theories at the centers of the web, and how practical examples flow out from those central pieces, those central theory sections. And then I've provided reflections on each of these artifacts as well. So there's a concept map, a constructivism website, So all of the artifacts I've been able to embed right in the ePortfolio so that there's no need to go outside of the EP to access anything. If the website for some reason doesn't show, then there is a link to access it outside, but hopefully that's not necessary. And then there's a instructional wiki, again, based on constructivism, looking at instructional design, how instructional design needs to be a recursive process, an iterative process where students' ideas, student needs are taken into account over and over again. Instruction is constantly redesigned to fit the students at the moment, in the moment, and reflections again on that. So moving on to theory to practice, focusing on interactive whiteboards. I've been experiencing interactive whiteboards now for about 10 years. I started out using them as replacement whiteboards where I just didactically teach from them, but I've moved more to seeing them as a technological tool that I can use to teach with, that I can engage students with, that students can work themselves on, and how ideas can be gathered from students, and really a student-centered focus in using interactive whiteboards. So then my artifacts under that show exactly that. So here's an essay that I look at interactive whiteboards and constructivism and reflections on that. And then my research proposal as well is to use interactive whiteboards as a center for professional development, as a focus of professional development, to get teachers to use interactive whiteboards more constructively, more in a profound use, as the research calls it. And then I've also looked at simulations in chemistry, how chemistry simulations can take things that are very microscopic and make them macroscopic for students, to help them overcome their preconceptions and misconceptions, and to engage them in constructive learning and building knowledge to learn about things. So moving then on to educational practice, and of course these are the things that are really close to my heart and really what I focus on in getting out of the Masters in Educational Technology program. The theory is foundational. You can't do without it, but yet it's the practice that ends up being the part of my life that I bring to the classroom and the thing that my students are focused on. So in my practice here, I'm looking at this green box where I've listed several practical ways of integrating constructivism into teaching and including technology in that process. And then, of course, the Bates and Poole sections model, how this can be used as a framework to develop very student-centered and student-benefiting materials from a technological perspective. So that's the focus on practice there. And of course, the items that I've been able to create, this web quest, focusing on Science 10, Biome, problem-based learning, students engaged by the problem, working through the problem using the web quest, analyzing that from a sections model and reflecting on that. And then of course Moodle. I've had much experience with Moodle as an administrator, but really the focus of using Moodle to teach in a constructive manner only came up in ETEC 565A, and I've been just incredibly helped by that course to develop materials to teach in a constructive manner. And then we also were able to, as a group in ETEC 510, develop a program in Edmodo, an online learning management system that really focuses on the needs of 21st century learners in a blog format, presenting the course material. And you can access that if you like from there. So that shows all my organization of the ePortfolio as going from theory to practice in a continuum. And like, I'm showing these in discrete parts, but really they can't be separated. The one has to go with the other. They're all tied together. And I think my cumulative reflection here shows that, where I focus once again on that web of learning where everything is tied together, where you can't do practice without having a theoretical foundation and building off of that. So I've reflected on all the different anchors and how they've helped me incredibly. And I've also focused on the feedback I've gotten for this ePortfolio and how I've integrated that feedback and how I've been thankful for that feedback. Looking at the ePortfolio through other eyes is just an incredible way of reviewing, and a very constructive way of viewing as well. And of course, there's references and credits, and credits, of course, for the photographs, all of them from Flickr, but then a reference list, an incredible list of references that are close to my heart that continue to guide me and help me learn how to teach and use technology from a constructivist perspective, student-centered learning, focusing on misconceptions, engaging students in learning experiences that are meaningful and authentic and helpful to them, to help them grow, to help them understand the importance of learning. And then finally, the assessment and feedback page. You're welcome to access that. And at the bottom of that page is a comment box. You can give me feedback through that anytime you like. Thank you for watching this portfolio tour. I hope it helps to work through the ePortfolio and helps to show what I've learned and what I hope to learn and how I hope to integrate learning into my practice in the future. Thanks again, and I wish you the best.